Welcome back. All right, so this is the third time I've worn an Islanders jersey for a recap, and it's the first time I've worn this jersey for a recap, so feels kind of fun. And I thought, well, it's either going to be that or Arizona, right? All right, so we're going to start things off talking about Calgary in against Columbus, and I don't know what to make of this. So it's Markstrom versus Korpisalo in this one. Laine would score at 1:02 on the first shot. It was scored on a rush. Roslovic and Chinakhov with the assists. So it's 1-0 that quickly. And Markstrom did bounce back from that, though. Backlund prevents a 2-0 goal shortly after that. The Flames get a power play. Kadri's shot is held. That's killed off. The shots are 3 apiece at 7 minutes. The Flames press are kept to the outside. Backlund's denied on a rush. Columbus presses at the half. The Flames go back to the power play. That was killed off. Pressed by the Flames with 4 minutes left. Chinakhov is denied. There was a 2-on-0 going on there with Laine, so he decided to shoot rather than pass. And so it's 1-0 Columbus after one. Second period. Elvis was in. Korpisalo wasn't even on the bench to start the second period. So, I mean, Elvis going in, but it turned out okay for them. Zahorna has a net drive that wouldn't go. And then on a fast break the other way, right after that, Robinson scores at 2:52. So instead of a 1-1 tie, it's 2-0 Columbus. Columbus gets a power play. That's killed off. The Flames go right back to the box, so Columbus is back on the power play. Gaudreau has a shot that's saved. That power play is killed off. Mangiapane had a rush chance that was saved. Gaudreau has a shot blocked as Columbus presses. The shots are 7-2 in favor of the Blue Jackets with 7.5 minutes left. The Flames get a power play. Anderson has a blast that's blocked. Near miss by Nyquist in the final minute. Ruzicka can't bury one. It is 2-0 Columbus after 2. So we go to the third period. There's an early press by the Flames. They get a power play. It then becomes 1 minute and 54 seconds of 4-on-4. Columbus presses. They get a power play. It becomes 59 seconds of 5-on-3. Everything's killed off there. They get another power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. There was some speculation as to whether or not the Flames scored on a play there. It's reviewed, and the answer is no. I was more worried a Columbus player put their hand on the puck in the crease. But at any rate, nothing comes out of that. 5:14 left. The Flames get a power play. That's killed off. Elvis have been very good. Goalie pull with 3 minutes left, and eventually Calgary gets on the board as Michael Stone from Backlund and Hanifin at 17:26. They would pull the goaltender to try to tie it. That allows Corrali to hit the empty net from Jenner and Olivier at 19:36. And that one just trickled in. That closes it out. Your final score is 3-1 for Columbus, wearing their fantastic reverse retros. They go to 9-15-2 with the win. Calgary drops to 13-11-3 with the loss. So frustrating loss for Calgary. Shots 12-9 Calgary in the first, 8-6 Columbus in the second, 14-10 Calgary in the third. Final shots 32-27 for the Flames. Power plays, yeah, there were a few. Calgary was 0 for 5, Columbus was 0 for 7. And yet the hits, there was only 26 hits. There were 12 penalties, or 12 power plays, and 26 hits. Weird. 14-12 in favor of Columbus in the hits department. Markstrom played well, 24 saves on 26 shots. He allowed a goal in the first shot, saved 24 out of 25 after that. Korpisalo saves all 12 shots in the first period, and then Merzlikins went in and saved 19 out of 20. So for Columbus, big victory. I would think Tarasov gets called up if he hasn't been already. And you see if you can build on that if you're Columbus. And for Calgary, they're going to have to try to bounce back their next time out. Next up, the Islanders in New Jersey. This was quite the statement game. Remember, early in the season, the Islanders had a game against New Jersey where they didn't even get their first shot until there was like 3.5 minutes left in the first period. So it's Varlamov versus Vanacek. The Islanders get a power play. That's killed off. Devils, they have a rush chance. That draws them a power play. Bratt's denied. Varlamov holds, but late in the power play, Hischier scores to make it 1-0 from Bratt and Hamilton at 5:31. And then the Devils press for more. They had a 3-on-2 that misfired, but they would end up getting a second power play, so it looks like the Devils could run away with this. There's a near miss for Hughes. The power play is killed off, and then Nelson is denied on a 2-on-1 as it's coming to an end, and then Nelson would score to tie it at 15:37 from Romanov on a wraparound. Devils try to answer. Nelson would then have another rush chance. He was denied on that one. Hischier fires one high as the Devils press. There was a crossbar for Hughes. The puck goes the other way, and Anders Lee scores to put the Islanders up 2-1. Scores from Romanov and Mayfield at 19:50. So one of those key goals very late in a period. It's 2-1 for the Islanders. Second period, the Devils press at 2.5 minutes, but the Islanders would score in rapid-fire fashion. First, it's Cizikas finally getting his first of the year. from Martin and Clutterbuck at 3:31, and then it's Wahlstrom from Barzell at 4:05. Wahlstrom buries the rebound there. Vanacek's night was over, and Schmid was in. I don't put that on Vanacek. Things get pushy after a save by Schmid, and then at 6:03 on a 2-on-1 and a one-timer, Mercer scores from Hughes and Graves. So it's 4-2. You can't discount the potential for a comeback from the New Jersey Devils. So, yeah, a little bit of tension there. Nelson was then denied on a breakaway. He had a fantastic game tonight. The Islanders get a power play. That's killed off. They would get another power play. Nelson has a shot that's saved. Rebounds cleared. That's killed off, and Schmid looks good. The Islanders would get another power play after that. They score on this one. It's Nelson from Pajot and Barzell at 16:47. It was a cross-ice pass, a one-timer. No chance for Schmid on that one. Things get punchy with 10.3 seconds left, and then they get punchy again at the horn. So these teams don't like each other. We're going to the third period with the score pretty lopsided in favor of the New York Islanders. Early jump for the Devils, but Clutterbuck scores at a minute, so I put under there, never mind. So that makes it 6-2. Tatar would answer from Siegenthaler and Bratt at 2:30. Devils get a power play. That's unsuccessful. Tatar had a chance that was held, and at 13:39, Hughes scores from Hamilton. That makes it 6-4. So with about 5 minutes left, New Jersey figures we might as well pull the goaltender. They had opportunities, could not beat Varlamov again. Your final score is 6-4. The Islanders go to 17-11. New Jersey drops to 21-5-1. Wearing their reverse retros, they had won the first game. They lose this one. Shots in this one: 12-9 New Jersey, or 12-9 Islanders in the first, 17-9 Islanders in the second, and then 11-3 for New Jersey in the third as they tried to get back into this. Final shots: 32-29 for the Islanders. Power plays: the Islanders 1 for 4, New Jersey 1 for 3. Hits: 21-11 for the Islanders. Varlamov saves 25 out of 29. Vanacek saves 13 out of 17. And Schmid saved 13 out of 15. So, overall, not a fantastic night for the Devils. They'll look to bounce back in their next game. And we'll see what that does to that board tomorrow night, with the pucks on it. Does that affect New Jersey's standing? We'll find out. All right, next up, Pittsburgh. The Penguins in against the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo wearing their reverse retros on this occasion, as a lot of the teams did tonight. This is kind of fun. So it's Jari versus Anderson. The shots are 3-1 in favor of Buffalo at 5 minutes. They came out very well in this one. They would press at 5.5 minutes. Dahlin was robbed, and then there's a crossbar for Olofsson as they're trying to open the scoring. Sabres aiming blocker side on Jari in this one. 9 minutes left. The shots are 10-2 for Buffalo. So Buffalo really in control at that point. Okposo has a chance that's held. The Sabres press with 6 minutes left. Carter then had a backhand chance that was held. The Pens get a power play. Good cycle. Shots blocked. That's killed off. So we're going to the second period with it still scoreless. Sabres press at 2 minutes. Okposo has a rebound that saved. The shots are 3-0 Buffalo at 4 minutes. So again, they're looking really good. It's just still scoreless. Penguins get a power play. That's killed off. The Sabres then get a power play right after that. That was killed off as well. Zucker's denied and close. The Penguins go back to the power play. Malkin fires one wide. There's a good cycle. And then Gensel would open the scoring on the power play from Petrie and Malkin at 15:36. Bluger nearly adds one. However, at 18:08, it's Olofsson that ties it from Jost and Mittelstadt. Mittelstadt then fired one wide on a 2-on-1. But during that same shift, he gets the Buffalo Sabres into the lead with a secondary assist at 19:15 on a goal by Skinner. Thompson with the other assist there. So Thompson stays hot. Great pass by Thompson, and it's buried by Skinner. So after 2 periods, it's 2-1 Buffalo. Third period, early press by the Penguins. More shot blocks by Buffalo there. Gensel's denied. That's killed off. And then Raquel. Raquel scores from Heinen at 2:53. He buries a rebound. So that power play for the Penguins is killed off, but after that, shortly after, Raquel would get that goal. Kapanen has a rush chance that's held. The Sabres get a power play. Dahlin has a point shot that's blocked. Power play is killed off. And at 7.5 minutes, the shots are 8-1 for the Penguins. So really not being denied in that third period. Sabres get a power play. That's killed off. And then at 16:30, Pittsburgh gets the lead. It's McGinn from Kapanen and Ruda. The Sabres, though, would get a power play with 3:02 left, and they score on it. It's Okposo at 18:30 from Quinn and Mittelstadt. The Sabres push to the lead, but then with 21.3 seconds left, things get kind of brawly. It is a 5-minute call on Skinner. They reviewed it, left it at 5 in a game, so he got thrown out, and that's with 21 seconds left in regulation. So that carries over into overtime. Sabres clear early, but eventually it's a 4-on-3 power play. Those can be lethal, and this one was. Carter scores from Raquel and Malkin at 1:36. So that penalty by Skinner may have cost Buffalo a point, and it may mean an appointment with Department of Player Safety tomorrow. Pittsburgh wins this one 4-3 in overtime. They go to 15-8-4 with the win. Buffalo drops to 12-13-2 with the overtime loss. The shots in this one, 13-6 Buffalo in the first, 11-8 Buffalo in the second, 17-7 Pittsburgh in the third, and they had both shots in the overtime, including the one that matters. Final shots, 33-31 for Pittsburgh. Power plays, Pittsburgh 2 for 5, Buffalo 1 for 4. The hits, 19-13 for Pittsburgh. Jari saves 28 out of 31. Anderson saves 29 out of 33. So the overall picture right now for Buffalo, we'll see. I thought they played well. The third period, Pittsburgh took over. They have to take the positives out of this and try to, rebound in their next game. We'll see how that goes for them. Next up, Seattle. So for Seattle, it does feel like some of the luster's coming off now that 7-game winning streak is done. And they have to be careful because it can turn very quickly in this league. It was Grubauer versus Lindgren in this one. The shots are 4-1 for the Caps at 2.5 minutes. Philip Grubauer, former goaltender for the Capitals, had maybe one of his best games as a goaltender for Seattle tonight. I don't think it's a coincidence. It's against his former team. Zone time for the Kraken, but they're kept to the outside. They're not getting shots at this point. Donato has a net feed. That's blocked. Ovechkin then had a rush chance that was held. Wenberg has a shot that deflects wide. Shots are 11-3 for the Capitals with 5 minutes left. Dunn has a shot that's blocked. The Caps rush, but Larson opens the scoring on a face-off win and only the fourth shot for the Seattle Kraken from Geekie and Kuhlman at 17:51. So after one period, it's 1-0 for Seattle, even though they were outplayed handedly by the Capitals. Second period, Caps have a 2-on-1. Larson defends that, doesn't let it get to the net. Tanev's denied from a sharp angle. The Caps press at 4.5 minutes. Eventually, they would score. It's buried in close by Mantha from Irwin and Alexiev at 5:20. The Kraken press at 8.5 minutes, but they're firing wide at that point. Caps get a power play. Is it going to be a 5-minute penalty? Yes. Alexiak flattened Alexiev, and it's 5 in a game for Alexiak. So he was out, which doesn't help when you're already in a game where you're getting outplayed. And again, we'll see if Department of Player Safety finds Alexiak if anything happens there. Caps couldn't set up in the first 2 minutes, but late in that power play, they do get a goal. So they get something out of it. It's Johansson from Milano and Ovechkin at 13:15. I have heard that apparently he wants to be called Johansson this year, not Johansson. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going with Johansson. Kraken then kill the rest. Dunn had a rush chance that's kicked aside. It's 2-1 in favor of the Capitals after 2. Third period, Caps start with 1:56 left on a power play on a penalty that was taken late in the period by Seattle, who were frustrated. The Kraken did finish the kill, but then there's a delay game call on the Capitals, so Seattle goes to the power play. Crossbar for Beniers. That's about as close as it gets. Sherry then had a rush chance. 3 saves on Ovechkin as he's rushing the other way. Burakovsky has a chance to flex out. The shots are 6-3 for Seattle at 7.5 minutes. The Kraken go back to the power play. Eberle has a blast that's saved and held. That power play is killed off. The Caps get a power play of their own with 8:54 left. Ovechkin blasts one wide. That's killed off too. Goalie pull takes place, and then the Capitals score. It's Eller at 18:54. They pull the goaltender again, and it's Ovechkin getting goal number 796. He's 98 behind Gretzky from Kuznetsov and Karlsson at 19:56. And, of course, he's 5 now behind Gordie Howe for second on the all-time list. The score is 4-1, your final. Washington goes above NHL 500, 13-12-4, wearing their reverse retros. For Seattle, they're 15-8-3. Like I said, this league, it can turn very quickly. So the shots are 12-6 for Washington in the first, 15-6 Washington in the second, and 14-11 Seattle in the third. Final shots 38-26 for Washington. And one thing with this, and just it's one of those things, so Seattle, Washington. Interesting. But anyways, power plays, Seattle 0-2, Washington 1-4. The hits 29-19 in favor of Seattle. Grubauer, 34 saves on 36 shots. Lindgren, 25 saves on 26 shots. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that Seattle played a bad game. Grubauer had a good game, just Washington outplayed them at the right times and got the goals at the key moments as well. So, again, we'll see how Seattle bounces back because, again, this can really start to roll the other way. Next up, Winnipeg in against Chicago. I don't know that this one was ever really in doubt. So it's Riddick versus Soderblom. Riddick had a decent game, but I thought Winnipeg did a good job of protecting him too. So Riddick, who's had some shaky starts already this season, I thought the Jets did a very good job making sure that he had an easier night. So Wheeler fires one high on a rush. The Jets press, but Soderblom holds. He played really well tonight. Taves has a rush chance that's held. The shots are 2-1 for Winnipeg at 5 minutes. Jets press at 7 minutes. Perfetti fires one wide on a turnover chance that he had. The Hawks press at 9 minutes. The teams exchanged rushes at the halfway mark of the period. Stanley gets shaken up. However, Winnipeg, not rattled by that. Perfetti would score from Morrissey at 15-21. The Hawks get a power play. Kane couldn't bury one. That power play's killed off. 2 shots managed by Chicago on that power play. Jets press in the final minute. They get a power play with 36.3 seconds left, and there are 2 penalties called on that play, so it's a 5-on-3 to close the period, and that rolls over into the second period. During the 5-on-3, Wheeler scores at 56 seconds from Connor and Morrissey, and then the Hawks kill off the 5-on-4. The shots are 6-0 for the Jets at 6.5 minutes. They're up 2-0, and again, I didn't really feel like Chicago had the necessary pushback in this one. Wheeler has a net feed that's blocked. The Jets press at 9 minutes, and Radish would score from Kurashev on a rush at 11:04. So the Jets had all the opportunities, and then it's one of those ones where kind of out of nowhere, Chicago does get themselves into the game. We then had a fight between DeMello and Reese Johnson. Good fight there. Kane has a shot that's saved and held. The Hawks press with 6 minutes left. There's a power play for the Jets, though, from a penalty taken by Chicago at the other end of the ice. You can't be taking those offensive zone penalties. Good penalty kill. That's killed off. The Hawks press. That draws them a power play. Winnipeg, good kill there. They kill that one off. Kane has a rush chance that's saved. And after 2 periods, it's 2-1 in favor of the Jets. We're going to the third. Early edge for the Jets. The Hawks had the only shot, though, in the period at 3.5 minutes. So this is just about shot suppression and chance suppression and just, get through the rest of the game. Jets get a power play. Wheeler's denied and close. That was killed off. The Hawks would rush the other way. Scheifele was then denied on a net drive. And then Lowry, who's been good at getting key goals when the Jets need him, gets that insurance goal from Harkins and Barron at 12:25. So that makes it 3-1. 4:45 left. The Hawks get a power play. Domi's denied and close. There was a shorthanded shot for Dillon. That was saved. The power play is killed off. Chicago would pull the goaltender with 2 minutes left to no avail. Your final score is 3-1 for the Jets. They go to 18-7-1. They've won 7 out of 8. For the Hawks, they're 7-15-4 with the loss. And the Jets wearing their reverse retros. The record is good when they wear those jerseys. The shots in this one, 13-7 Winnipeg in the first, 11-9 Winnipeg in the second, 8-7 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 32-23 for the Jets. Power plays, Winnipeg 1 for 4, Chicago 0 for 3. The hits, 21-13 for Chicago. Riddick saves 22 out of 23, and Soderblom saves 29 out of 34. So yeah, there you go. We're done with that first board. Let's go to the second. Okay, board number 2, and Minnesota in against the Edmonton Oilers. So the Wild, probably not enjoying this trip through Alberta very much. This is Fleury versus Skinner, and at 2:45, Ryan scores a goal 5-hole from Shore and Costin. So that line continued to play well tonight. Draisaitl nearly scored on a turnover. The shots are 3-1 in favor of Edmonton at 5 minutes. The Oilers would get a power play, and they score on it. It's McDavid from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Barrie at 8:59. Great pass by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who had an excellent game as well. Eriksson Ek would answer for Minnesota at 11:24. It makes it 2-1. The Wild then had some pressure. They draw a power play. That was killed off. 2 shots allowed there. Hyman has a shot that's held in the final minute. So after the first period, it's 1-0 in favor of Edmonton. Second period, early chances for the Oilers. The shots, though, 4 minutes into that period are 5-4 for Minnesota. And Minnesota had a very good road period in this one. Power play for the Wild. It becomes a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 36 seconds. There's a near miss for Kaprizov during that. And after the 5-on-3 was killed and it's a 5-on-4, That's when Minnesota scores. It's Zuccarello from Kaprizov and Spurgeon at 6:23. The shots, 7.5 minutes into the period, are 13-5 for the Wild. So Skinner was kind of under siege at that point. The Wild had momentum. They're seeking the lead. And then Yamamoto with his first of the year from Nurse and Ceci at 12:54. So key goal at a big time, and maybe that'll get Yamamoto going. Gaudreau then had a shot that was blocked. The Oilers pressed with 3.5 minutes left. With 4.1 seconds left in the second period, the Wild get a power play. So that rolls over into the third. They're trailing by 1. Kaprizov's denied on a one-timer. The next shot was blocked. Gaudreau gets denied. That power play's killed off. And then the Oilers get a power play, and they score on theirs. It's Draisaitl from Nugent-Hopkins and McDavid at 3:43. Another great pass by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. What else is new? The shots are 8-3 for the Wild at 8 minutes. So again, the Wild getting the lion's share of opportunities. Skinner playing very, very well. 9:31 left. The Wild get a power play. Pretty aggressive penalty kill by the Oilers here. Foligno has a shot that's held. That's killed off. The Wild would get some pressure after it's killed off. Hyman's then robbed on a rush. 5:16 left. The Oilers get a power play. That's killed off. But they don't need a goal at that point. They're just taking 2 minutes off the clock. Goalie pull with 2:40 left. That allows Nugent-Hopkins to score at 19:51 from Draisaitl and Hyman. So the Oilers end up tacking one on there. They win this one 5-2. They go to 16-12 on the season. And for Minnesota, they're 13-11-2 on the season. So the shots in this one, 15-10 Edmonton in the first, 16-14 Minnesota in the second, 18-9 Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 44-38 for Minnesota. Power plays, the Wild 1 for 5, Edmonton 2 for 3. The hits, 24-22 Minnesota. Fleury saved 33 out of 37. Skinner, 42 saves on 44 shots. Campbell, get yourself a thermos and some tea or coffee, whatever you'd like to drink. You might be watching some hockey for a bit here because Skinner has taken the net. He is now absolutely the starter, and he's not looking like he's going to give it back anytime soon. All right, next up, the Rangers in against Colorado. So Nichushkin comes back tonight, and I think this could be the start of things getting better for Colorado. I'm an optimist. Shesterkin versus Georgiev. Early jump was for the Avs. There's a near miss for Makar, who was very busy tonight. Both goalies sharp early. The shots, though, are 3-1 for Colorado at 4 minutes. There was a mask save on a Trocheck shot. The Avs pressed at 6.5 minutes. Nichushkin nearly scored. More Avs pressure at 9 minutes. And then Rantanen couldn't bury on a 3-on-1, but then Rantanen did open the scoring from Newhook and Girard at 14:38 on a faceoff win. So after the first period, it's 1-0 Colorado. Second period, early jump was for the Rangers, and eventually they get the goal. It's Schneider who started putting the puck in the net from Panarin and Gaudreau at 4:56. So that ties it up. Makar nearly answered. Myers is robbed on a net drive. Might have been the best game I think Shesterkin's played this year. The Avs press at 7 minutes. The shots are 8-5 in their favor, 8.5 minutes in. Things get pushy after a hold by Georgiev, who also had an excellent game. Rangers press with 4 minutes left. The Avs went over 7 minutes without a shot. Panarin, though, he prevents a Hudon goal. Hudon was going to bury it, and Panarin managed to knock the puck off his stick without taking a penalty. That's the key. Nichushkin then steals one, and Igor denies him. So we're going to the third period tied at 1. Avs press early. The teams exchange rushes. There was a power play for Colorado. Compher has a shot that's saved. That power play's killed off. Cogliano, who was all over the ice in this one, he has a rush chance that's blocked. The Rangers get a power play. That was killed off. Kakko then had a shot that deflects wide. Momentum was with New York with 9.5 minutes left. They had the pressure. They had the puck in the Colorado zone. They didn't get a ton of shots, though. Girard has a shot that's blocked. Newhook then nearly buries one. The Rangers then had a 2-on-1 that misfired. We're going to overtime. In the overtime, the Avs control early. Compher had a rush chance that was saved. 3 line changes for the Avs while they had the puck in that overtime. They were really controlling it. Taves is denied on a 2-on-1. Keandre Miller had a shot that was held. That was the only shot the Rangers had in the overtime. Makar has a shot that's snagged and held. Nice glove save there. Took it around the world. The announcers even said, oh, is that a Patrick Waugh style save? It absolutely was. Rangers control in the final minute, but we're going to a shootout. And in the shootout, both Zibanejad and Panarin score, and the Rangers end up winning this one in the shootout 2-1. So in their first meeting this year, Colorado went into New York and won in a shootout. Now, New York goes to Colorado, wins in a shootout. They go to 14-10-5 with the win. For the Avalanche, they're 13-10-2 with the shootout loss. But the shots, 12-8 Colorado in the first, 15-14 Rangers in the second, 11-5 Colorado in the third, 5-1 Colorado in the overtime. Final shots are 42-29 for Colorado. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 1. Hits, 24-23 Rangers. Shesterkin saves 41 out of 42. Georgiev saves 28 out of 29. And again, I think this is a sign things might be turning around a little bit for the Avs. We'll find out soon enough. But it does feel like this might be a watershed game. There was a lot to like in this if you're an Avs fan. All right, next up, there's going to be Avs fans saying, no, there isn't. And there's going to be Bruins fans saying, you better not say there's a lot to like in this game against Arizona. And that would be true. So it's Swayman versus Vejmelka. And on the first shot it's Brown. So Josh Brown gets a goal from Bocelli and Krause at 23 seconds. Fredericks then denied on a net drive. The Bruins would get a power play and they would score on it. At 4:52, it's Pastrnak from McAvoy. The Bruins had some momentum. The shots are 5-3 in their favor at 7.5 minutes. The Coyotes would then get a power play. That's killed off. Grzelcyk then had a chance to deflect out. Marchand's denied and close with 2:15 left. The Bruins get a power play, and that was killed off as well. So we go to the second period with the score tied at 1. Bruins picked up right where they left off. They had a lot of zone time early in that second period. They get a power play as well. Pastrnak has a blast that's held. Another denial of Pastrnak followed that. That was killed off, and then the Coyotes get a power play almost right after that. Coyotes score, but it's offside. Fisher had a shot that was held. The power play is killed off. There's a near miss for Boyd on a rush. The shots are 4-2 for the Bruins at 7.5 minutes. Coyle would score from DeBrusk at 7:48. He buries a rebound in close. That puts Boston up 2-1. It doesn't last. Krause would answer. He scores from Gostisbehere and Chychrun at 10:40. Good press. It was a screenshot, and then it was tipped by Krause. No chance for Swayman there. Swayman's numbers are ugly coming out of tonight, but really, these were defensive breakdowns more than they were on Swayman. Bruins press to answer. Pasternak's denied on a break. DeBrusk is then robbed on a rush. Coyotes get a power play. The Bruins didn't let them set up. And then with 1:52 left, there's too many Coyotes on the ice, so the Bruins get a power play. Boston doesn't score for the rest of that period. It's only 8 seconds left to go into the third, so that's killed off. And then at 53 seconds, Nick Schmaltz scores from Keller and Gostisbehere. Great pass by Keller, and it's buried. It's one of those cross-ice passes that, again, showed poor defensive coverage by Boston. Chychrun fires one wide from the slot. The Bruins press at 6.5 minutes. McAvoy's denied. The shots are 4-1 for the Bruins at 9 minutes. The one shot Arizona has went in the net. The Bruins get a power play. There's a shorthanded rush by McBain. That was saved. And then Foligno scores on that power play from Krejci and Lindholm at 14:31. The Coyotes get a power play with 5:12 left. That's killed off, and it looks like this is going to overtime. But then as they beat out an icing, they score with 14 seconds left, the Coyotes do. It's Krause from Bocelli, so the Arizona Coyotes score with 14 seconds left. There's basically no chance Boston's getting the tie. So your final score is 4-3 for Arizona. They go to 8-13-4 with the win. Boston drops to 21-4-1 with the loss. It's a rare regulation loss, but they're away from home. They've had a few of those. And the shots, all Boston, 15-6 in the first, 23-6 in the second, 8-4 in the third. Final shots, 46-16 for Boston. Power plays, Boston 2 for 6. So they only had one goal, 5-on-5. Arizona 0 for 4. So if Arizona had that power play goal count, this one would have been over sooner than it was. Hits 39-27 for Arizona. Swayman saves 12 out of 16. Vejmelka saves 43 out of 46. And now Boston gets to go to Vegas next. So we'll see how that one goes. But for Boston, this is a tough result. We'll see how they bounce back in the next one, right? All right, next up. Philadelphia in against the Vegas Golden Knights. I just got to write something else here. There we go. I'm writing down all the timestamps, because every now and then I'll see people saying, what's he writing? Writing timestamps to go into the video. So it's Hart versus Hill, and Eichel was back. He's wearing the fishbowl, but he's back. So Farabee's denied on a 2-on-1. Vegas presses at 3 minutes. Haig had a rush chance that deflected wide. The shots are 2-1 for the Flyers at 7.5 minutes. This is a remarkable game in that I think the Flyers played really, really well. They just can't score. This really kind of stands out as one of the really good examples of how Philly just doesn't have the offense. So Sedlak had a net feed. That's picked off. Slow first half for Vegas, just the one shot. and they scored on their second. It's Carrier. Kind of an out-of-nowhere goal. This is a weird game. There were no assists in this game. I'm not sure that I've seen that before, but there were no assists in this game. Sedlak has a shot that's kicked aside. There's a near miss for Marchessault. There was then a post for Karlsson on the rush. So it's 1-0 Vegas after one, even though I thought Philly had an excellent first period. In the second period, they're a little fortunate. Aiden Hill with a giveaway, goes to Lawton. Lawton banks it in from behind the net at 147. Hey, they don't ask how ugly they are, just how many you get. And so the score's tied at 1. And the shots are 2-0 for the Flyers at 4 minutes. Frost has a shot that's held. Haig had a blast that was saved at the other end. Things get pushy after a hold by Hart. Power play then for Vegas. That's killed off. The shots are 9-8 for the Flyers with 7 minutes left. There's then a near miss for Konechny on a rush. But after 2 periods, it's tied at 1. We go to the third. Shots are 2-1 for Vegas at 3 minutes, so they get off to a decent start. Smith to Marchessault chance. That was blocked out by, I believe, Sanheim. Could have been Sealer, but I think it was Sanheim. Vegas with some momentum, but neither team was giving up much room. There really weren't that many prime chances throughout that first half of the period. Vegas press are kept to the outside. The Flyers press at 8.5 minutes, but as an example of what I'm saying, they didn't get any shots on net during that press. The shots are only 4-3 for the Flyers with 7.5 minutes left, so not a lot of opportunities at that stage. Stone had a backhand that saved. Carrier couldn't bury one in close. Really nice save by Hart there. He put the puck back to Carrier, but Carrier wasn't ready for it. Vegas presses with 4 minutes left. With 2:56 left, Vegas gets a power play. Shorthanded rush by Brown killed time. Karlsson's then denied. That power play's killed off. We are going to overtime. The Flyers coming into this one were 0-4 in overtimes this year and 0-5 past regulation in general, so that's not a good omen. But the Flyers controlled early, and they controlled most of this. Konechny tips one wide. Theodore got hurt. It was a again, there was a collision, so it kind of looks like a knee on knee, but I think it was shin on shin, and there was no vicious intent there. I heard some ref you suck chants, but either player could have got hurt. There was just a collision. The Flyers continued to control after the next faceoff, and then on a turnover by Kevin Hayes, Marchessault ends it. The first chance Vegas had in overtime, and they score at 3:21. So Vegas wins this one 2-1 wearing their glow-in-the-dark jerseys. They go to 28-1 with the 2-1 victory. Philadelphia 9-13-6. They just can't score. And this is their problem, right? So the shots, 9-8 Philly in the first, 15-12 Vegas in the second, 10-6 Vegas in the third. Both teams had one shot in overtime. Final shots, 34-28 for Vegas. Power plays, Philly didn't have any. Vegas went 0 for 2. The hits, 40-23 for Philadelphia. Carter Hart had a great game, 32 saves on 34 shots. Aiden Hill was very good as well, 27 saves on 28 shots. And a low-scoring game here, a low-scoring game here, some low-scoring games. So look for tomorrow to be a day where we have a ton of goals scored. That's usually the way it's worked this season. All right, next up, a game with some goals. So this one didn't go to a shootout, thankfully. So it's San Jose wearing their Golden Seals throwbacks against the Ducks, who I don't know. This is one of those games where you can look at it and go, so they are the worst team in the league then. So it's McInniemi against Gibson. McInniemi, young kid, right? Talked about him in the video I did this morning, talking about who might need Bedard the most, where I said San Jose, and I still believe that. But at any rate, early edge for the Ducks. The shots are 3-0 in their favor at 4.5 minutes. And I thought, okay, so the Ducks are playing well. But it's Meyer that opens the scoring. He had way too much time here, too. He scores from Karlsson and Hertl at 10-18. You can't give a goal scorer like Meyer that much time to basically get the exact perfect spot. Sharks get a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 6-4 for the Ducks with 6 minutes left. But after the first period, it's 1-0 San Jose. Second period, Shimmick has a shot that's kicked aside. Gibson holds as the Sharks press. The shots are 4-1 for San Jose at 3.5 minutes. The Ducks press. They're kept to the outside. And eventually, San Jose gets another one. It's Harrington with his first of the season from LeBanc and Meyer at 6:19. The Sharks then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Erik Karlsson from Barabanov at 7:53. That one's blasted from the point. And then it's just one of those goals. So it's a dump around. Gibson comes out to play the puck on the dump around, but it comes off of like a stanchion, and it goes right out in front. And Sturm's like, thanks. And he puts it into what's basically an open net because Gibson was going out to play it. So it's a goal by Sturm from Benning at 8:01. It was just the dump in right after the goal, and so it leads to another one. Nothing was going in the direction of the Anaheim Ducks. That makes it 4-0. And then Zegras would answer at 9:37 from Fowler and Kulikov. The Ducks would press with 7.5 minutes left. There's a power play for the Ducks with 3:01 left. The Sharks get a power play. That's killed off after 2 periods. It's 4-1 for San Jose. Third period, a pretty choppy start with some whistles there, and just, it was a slow start to that period. Ducks press, they're kept to the outside. The Sharks get a power play. It's killed off. The shots are 4-3 for the Ducks at 9.5 minutes. So not a lot of opportunities. This was kind of a slow game at that point, just in terms of chances. And I thought the Sharks did a really good job of shutting things down up by 3. It's not the most exciting hockey to watch, but, this is how it works. So they would pull the goaltender with 5:15 left, those Ducks did, because they had to get a bunch of goals. Fowler has a shot that's saved, and then Benito gets the empty net from the other end of the ice. Benning with the assist at 16:18. And then with Stolarz back in the net, because Stolarz took over in the third, Lawrence scores from Svechnikov and Barabanov at 16:43. So that makes it 6-1. To celebrate that, Gadjevich had a fight with Carrick on the next play. The Ducks get a power play, but it becomes a 4-on-4 to finish, and your final score is 6-1. San Jose goes to 9-16-5 with the win. For the Ducks, they're 7-18-3 with the loss. The shots in this one, 7 apiece in the first, 12-7 San Jose in the second, 10-9 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 28-24 for the Sharks. Power plays, the Sharks 1 for 4, Anaheim 0 for 3. The hits 16-13 for San Jose. Makiniemi, 22 saves on 23 shots, and that's how you get a win in your first career start. Gibson saved 15 out of 19, and then in relief, Stolarz saved 7 out of 8. And so, big win for San Jose of sorts in the Battle of California. They only have one game left against one another. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.